Extermination Radio with your hosts, John Vail and Tanner West.
All right, welcome to World Extermination Radio. I'm John 40 Ounce Vail, and I'm here with Splatterhouse.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
And I'm also here with Dragonfly.
Yo.
All right, this is cool, man. I'm glad we're talking. I've been wanting to do this podcast with you for such a long time, and I'm glad we're finally doing it.
Yeah, you must have contacted me. I don't know, early 2016, I think.
Yeah, it might have been a year ago.
Really? Was it that long ago? Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually a couple people I've talked to that I wanted to do a podcast with, but we just never got around to it. It was such a pain getting these episodes together, and now it's a lot easier than it was in the past. But I'm glad we're doing this now. Yeah, I learned something new about you recently that I saw that you posted on Doomworld. You've been mapping for over 11 years. Is that true?
Yep, that's true. Definitely. Yep.
That's awesome.
I started in the summer of 2005.
Cool, man. That's kind of like when I started mapping too. I didn't realize that you were I thought you were like a newish mapper because I haven't like really heard about you since like or at least until like the last couple years. But it's cool that you've been doing this for such a long time.
I was very much a lurker. It was during my teenage years. I was 13 when I started being on the Doomworld forums. So I kind of nuked the account I used to be on because it was just embarrassing to look back at what I'd posted and stuff. It's really childish and immature. So I completely dumped that name. I got rid of everything that I had done in the past and just sort of moved on with the new skills I've gained in Doom and used my modern online nickname. So
that's cool. I like your mapping a lot. I've always really admired your screenshots, and I think it's really cool that you're in like a really special camp and compared to most mappers because you make not only that you make levels that are like very good looking, but they're also like for advanced source ports, and I don't think there's a lot of mappers that still do that. Like I can only think of a few off the top of my head. I can think of like Ed Cripps and like Tormentor 667 and like the guy who worked on Winter's Fury. But like most of like our forums like best mappers are like making like vanilla and boom projects and stuff. So it's really cool to see you like working with like advanced features.
Well, I don't know. I think the extra features, it's one of those things. If you can use them in sort of moderation, they only enhance the project. They don't limit you. But yeah, sometimes you've got too much choice, and going back to vanilla and boom is actually quite, I don't know, liberating in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing too. Like a lot of like John said, there's so many mappers that stick to strictly vanilla projects. And then you have the other side of it, the flip side, where there's people who make just, all these like TCs and crazy gameplay mods that don't even really, they lose the feel of the original Doom, you know what I mean? Not all of them, but, you do see them a lot. So it's kind of refreshing to see somebody who can kind of mix it up and implement the new features effectively because, if you, like you said, moderation is right. Like if you use too many of the new features and start overloading the player with all these updated modern features, it gets to be like, all right, this isn't really Doom. This doesn't have the Doom feel as much as I'd like it to anymore.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah, and I kind of see that, and like, what I see is in some of your, I know like one of your major projects has been Skull Dash, which is really cool, and
Yep.
I like how it's like it does kind of like stick to the Doom roots, but while adding like a new, like exciting new feature to it. Could you tell people about Skull Dash a little bit for people who don't know?
Yeah, sure. So we'll go right back to the start all those years ago. So I was on the Z-Doom forums. I decided when I sort of came back to the Doom community and wanted to be a bit more mature, I came back just as my name, Josh, on the Z-Doom forums. I'm still there, but I don't browse there anymore, so you won't see me posting. There was a community project called 10, where you were only able to use 10 textures. I think the limitation was. So I did a community map for that, and everyone seemed to be like, "Oh man, your maps are so good. Do another, come on," that sort of thing. One of my friends, Remirath, you might know him.
Yeah.
He used to be known as Morpheus back then. So me and him sort of worked together. He helped me with a bit of the ACS, and we made a bonus map called Skull Dash, where you had to dash around a map really quickly, collecting these tokens, which I'd whipped up, sort of sprites with skull coin on them, sort of spinning around. So that's where the whole project was born. And yeah, from there I just sort of doomed in waves, so to speak. So you know, I might go off of Doom for say 6 months, 9 months at a time, but then when I come back, I've got this like 3-month burst. Just I just needed to map. I knew what I wanted to make. I just get my head down and do it. So for 3 months straight, all my spare time went on making these sort of small, sweet maps for Skull Dash that I'd just been working on. So
that's cool.
It's been a little project that's gone over the last 7 years and has sort of allowed me to create an environment where speedrunning is necessary rather than optional, so to speak. And I found it really enjoyable, so I figured I could make a project out of it.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's a cool thing because like speedrunning is such a solitary activity, and it's cool that you kind of like incorporated it into a multiplayer activity that people can do together.
Yes, yeah. In fact, talking about the multiplayer aspect, a lot of shortcuts have been found for Skull Dash just because of multiplayer play. So like, yeah, I think on map 7 or 8, I can't remember which one it was. It's the one with frozen time. I don't know if you've played the project, but there's, when you start the level, all the monsters are stationary and you can't kill them. And then when you get to the end of the level, you press a switch, and then you have to navigate back to the start of the map, and all the monsters are alive and awake. Yeah, there's a Baron of Hell blocking the exit. So all you have to do on multiplayer is just jump on one of the other players' heads and jump over the Baron of Hell, and you just skip the whole entire level.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was quite fascinated by that.
Yeah, I'm always like that. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I actually like the Skull Tag a lot. I'm sorry, not Skull Tag, Skull Dash.
Don't worry, I do that too.
I like it a lot because it's like, you know, once John told me, he said, he watched me play, and he said, "You play Doom so impatiently. You know, I just run, you know, guns blazing just through everything." And that's why I like Slaughter maps so much. So I can really appreciate the fact that, you know, your, I guess it's a mod technically, kind of adds that feature where you have to race against the clock and just, you know, speed around the map and just kill everything quickly. You know what I mean? I do like that. It gives a new thrill to the game. You know what I mean? Because it adds like that rush. Like I gotta get these tokens. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that.
Nice. I'm glad you appreciate it. So I don't know, when I first released it, I started putting screenshots up on this post your Doom picture thread that I just found when I rejoined Doom World. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this looks good." And that's not the reaction I was expecting. I was expecting people just go, "Oh, that get rid of that waterfall, put this there," or, you know, be really critical. But everyone seemed to be pleased by the screenshots. So in my mind, over the sort of 3-month build-up, changed from, "Oh, everyone's going to hate this, they're just going to shoot it down," to, "I think people might like this," you know.
And then you won a CAC award.
Yeah. That put probably one of the biggest smiles I've ever had on my face when I first saw that.
Yeah, that's
quite mind blowing.
Well, it's really cool. It's a very cool project. I thought the screenshots were always really cool, and I really liked how you incorporated newer features. Like when I make maps, I never had any interest in using slopes or dynamic lighting or anything like that. But you have a way of making it look really tasteful and making it like it really fits in with the atmosphere.
I use and abuse slopes. You've triggered the keyword there.
No, you don't abuse it. I think it looks great.
Features that I feel should be vanilla. They're just, they add so much to the like dynamic of mapping. So
yeah, it does. Yeah, it's really cool. I still haven't like gotten around to that. I don't know. I've always been like kind of weary about using like new source port features, only because I don't want to like open up that whole can of worms. Because I know like once you switch to ZDoom, there's like a whole world of opportunity of things that you can do, and I don't want to get carried away.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of Pandora's box in its own way.
Yeah,
you can be blissfully ignorant, or you can open it up and you realize actually there's this whole world of fantastic things I can do within this environment. But then there are some people who go, "No, I don't like it. I prefer the original Doom sort of feel." So
yeah,
that's why a lot of the sort of veteran mappers are still sticking with Boom and creating these amazing maps in a more limited environment. You know, I think sometimes the restrictions inspire them.
Yeah, that's how it works for me. Do you I saw some screenshots recently of something you're working on. It looks almost like a heaven and hell type thing. What is that?
Okay.
Are you okay talking about it? I don't want to like spoil it in case
Yeah,
you want to like
no,
keep it a
no,
secret.
I'm happy talking about anything.
Okay.
No, I don't have any secrets here. So, was it like a heaven level, so to speak? So, like, there was like white and gold sort of textures around on a floating island type thing.
Cool.
Is that what you're on about?
Yeah. That's the one. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that was part of the Skull Dash expansion pack. So that's going to be the boss for the new tier that I've added.
Ooh.
And the sort of semi-related thing was a chapel, which is going to be the level before it, which is going to be quite sort of slaughter map-ish.
Nice.
But as a map, it's essentially just a big sort of rectangular shape with pillars in between. From mapping perspective, it looks good, but it's not. So I'm hoping the sort of monster placement and like the way they're sort of going to teleport in and like attack the player will make it more interesting than it sort of looks. But we'll see.
Okay. That's cool.
So, are we actually gonna get to fight God in your map, or?
Close. So I do have a YouTube video up. I did post it quite a while ago on Doom, but I'm more than happy to link you guys and anyone else who wants it. Of me fighting the new Angel boss. So I went on Realm 667, Tormentor 667's little website baby, so to speak, with all the sort of repository of monsters. I took someone's knights, which they'd done or taken from another game or something. And someone else had this like big wyvern type monster, and I've sort of merged the two. So in the graphic editing software, I've taken the wings from one thing, put it on the like warrior, then sort of color shifted all of the sprites to make him look a bit more holy and a bit less gruesome. And the end result sort of turns into this angel thing. So I wrote the decorate code to go with it, and now I've got this sort of very, very tanky, nearly unbeatable angel throwing like 100 fireballs at you at a time and stuff.
Nice.
So yes, it's a good fun boss fight actually. And halfway through, once you get him down to 50% health, he lowers a platform which has a flight sphere, which I've added into the game into it. So you can go up onto his level and you fly around and fight him with him.
What? That sounds sick.
Yeah, I took sort of a more MMO RPG type approach to it with like a raid boss where it has these phases as it goes through. So I'm hoping it feels like it achieved it. So, yeah.
That definitely sounds like really interesting. See, that something like that would be, that's like a new, an example of like including a new feature, and a new source port feature that isn't too obtrusive. I mean, it sounds a little. It sounds like
too far.
I mean, honestly, like it's cool because I mean, you're only thing you're really changing is the movement. It seems like from the. Well, I'm talking mainly about the flying aspect of it. But
that's true. Yes,
but that would be really cool. Actually, can't wait to see that.
All right, cool. I'll provide you a link after this this little interview.
Are you still looking for mappers for Skull Dash, or are you just kind of like putting it on the back burner for some other projects that you're working on?
I'm not actively looking, but if any interest is generated from this or any other sort of means, then by all means, I'm more than happy to have someone on board.
Yeah, it definitely needs more love. It's an awesome project, and I think I haven't gotten much chance to play it because I was kind of like off the grid for a while. I didn't have a computer that connected to the internet. I could pretty much do all of my internet stuff through my phone, but I couldn't play Doom online through my phone. So I've been like kind of off the grid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for like the last couple years, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I just started playing a little bit more Capture the Flag recently, and yeah, and like the high speeds of Capture the Flag is like getting me pumped up, and I think I still love single player, and I love the idea that you're just kind of like merging these two ideas together, and it's such a happy marriage of these cool things.
Thank you. Yeah, I must admit, CTF is probably one of my favourite game modes, both for sort of Doom and, say, like Quake Live or other shooter games as well. Yeah, particularly fond of it on Quake Live, I must be honest.
Yeah, you play Quake Live too?
Not at the moment, but I do play it on occasion. It's, like a bored Sunday afternoon. What do I feel like doing? I don't feel like mapping.
Yeah.
Quake, let's play some Quake. Let's do it.
Yeah, my brother plays a lot of Quake. That's an awesome game. It's cool how it's like the fast pace and the high skill ceiling and stuff. We talked about that in another episode, but I don't want to get too deep into that. But
Fair enough.
yeah, it's really cool though. I'm really looking forward to playing it, and I don't see many servers actively like running it, but I think we should probably get some maps going for it, and maybe generate some interest for it, and then we'll get some. I'd like to see this expansion pack come out. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, sure. So with the expansion pack, we've got a map by Tormentor 667, which is set in Egypt already, or like the sort of Aztec, sort of Mayan type areas. Very sort of thick desert, sort of sandstormy type environment, and some sort of Indiana Jonesy, temple-y type stuff. Really cool map.
Cool.
I believe that's Tomb of Thought, right? That map.
No, but it's similar to it. It's one that he's made for Skull Dash. So you start the map with, I think it was 10 seconds on the clock, and you've just got a dash collecting these like 5-second bonus tokens. Really, like, you've got to go for it. You've got to ignore all the monsters and just leg it as fast as you can to make sure you don't die to the timer until you get to like the first checkpoint, and then you've got to fight your way back and carry on through the map, sort of thing. It's quite an interesting map.
Yeah.
Got 2 or 3 maps in the works by myself. Tech bases. We've got that Heaven map. We've got Chapel. Then there's Remerath, who's made another tech-based map for me, and we're working on a map together. And he's also started one in some sort of like psychotic void hell map. I don't know how to describe it, except it's kind of like a pink hell. But yeah,
Nice.
that's a halfway through finished map, and that's pretty cool. It's very unique. I've never seen a theme quite like it, so can't wait till he finishes that one.
That's super cool.
So yeah, any more maps that we can get, by all means.
So explain the rules a little bit to me, because I kind of have an idea of what it is that you're doing in this game. Like, I know you have to collect tokens, right? And
Yep.
So like, what exactly are the rules?
Okay, so when you play Skull Dash, you go through a tutorial which explains it all. So the main thing is there's 5 types of coins called skull tokens. There's the silver one, sort of grey one. That is just a token. It means nothing except that you've got to collect it. There's a red one which gives you 25 health, a green one which gives you 25 armor, a blue one which gives you an extra 5 seconds on the clock, and a gold one which gives you 100 armor, but they're really rare. So the whole idea is that there's a clock, obviously. So the average map probably has somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes, and you've got to find enough tokens to unlock the exit and leave in that time. So to unlock an exit, you need 75% tokens. And obviously the blue ones give you a bit of extra time to make you survive as you go.
Mm.
So that's ultimately it. You've just got to beat the clock and collect most of the collectibles, but half of them will be hidden in secrets or in not so easy locations to get to.
Yeah. Okay. So like, is the exit like marked with like a key or something, or is there a special token you have to get for that?
So the exit will look like a sort of standard exit. Sometimes it's right in front of your face at the start of a level. Sometimes you've got to work your way there. But ultimately the exit is sort of marked as a standard exit, but you can't go there. You can't go through the door, or the wall won't lower yet until you've got 75% or more of the tokens.
Oh, okay. So you have to collect like a percentage of the tokens.
Yeah.
And then the exit gets revealed.
80 tokens. You need 60 of them before that door opens.
That's such like a fun, simple idea. I love that.
So if you get all of them, like a bonus item will appear in the map that will let you carry over more health to the next one. So it could be a soul sphere or a mega sphere.
Mm.
That'll then let the player just walk through to the next map with 200 health. So if you're really struggling on, say, map 16, you can go back, beat map 1 100%, and then go back to map 16 with double the health.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I put that sort of mechanic into play too much, because I don't think the project's got hard enough for some people. Which is what this community map set was hoping to sort of fix. We've got like a beach themed map which I've put up, which is definitely your sort of standard slaughter map. And like one of the other maps, the chapel one that I mentioned, is definitely going to be a slaughter map. There's no two ways about it. It's going to be vicious as hell. So
yes.
Excited.
Yeah. The amount of like
Sure.
the amount of awesome Doom players there are out there is like really incredible, especially since Alfonso started this new Doom World Ironman competition. and it's really like showing. It's really like people are showing their true colors. It's really cool to see people like try these WODs for the very first time, or some. Well, some of them aren't playing them for the first time, but some people are just going through a full run and they can complete like all 30 levels of a Mega WOD without dying once, and it's that's blowing my mind. And I didn't realize.
I think 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I've lost very, very badly in both.
Yeah, I know. I'm like nervous to try sometimes because I don't want I don't want people to know how bad I am sometimes.
It's the demo recording bit. I'm suddenly realizing that everyone can watch what I'm doing. I'm not just sort of playing it for myself, and that makes me suddenly panic about my movements.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Like once you once people know that you're being watched. Yeah, once people know that you're being like once you know that you're being watched, like you just get all shaken and you're like, I better not screw this up, and then you screw up.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yeah, I can't play the game without saves, and fucking. Oh, sorry. So John always makes fun of me for that. He's like, pistol start, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't save. Every time I beat a level, I change the level, to start from fresh from a pistol start. So I do start every map fresh, but yeah, I can't imagine playing without saves, especially on like some of the slaughter maps. Sometimes I'll have to use one save point 5, 6, sometimes 10 times. You know what I mean?
Especially with maps like map sets like Sunlust and Sunder.
Yeah,
trying to beat those without saves is just
nuts.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know I used to give you a hard time about that, but I'm just a shrill. I like to do things my own way, and I don't want to like I don't want to like tell you how to enjoy your game. You can use saves if you want.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm not. I don't spend enough time playing Doom to, and I'm not really motivated to become this player who can just run through a map without dying. Like every map. Honestly, I don't really care. Like I just want to have fun and I want to enjoy the game. If I have to, I just want to complete the level in its entirety, even if I have to use saves. I want to complete it in its entirety from pistol start. So if I have to save, I have to save. And Sunder and Sunlust, yeah, I'm saving after every battle.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I have this sort of mentality. So the first time I play a map, I will save. I hate going through a map halfway through it. Say it's a large map that's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes long. If I'm 15 minutes into that map and I die, it just totally makes me not want to play that level again.
Exactly.
And for some reason, once I beat a level, I'm more than willing to then replay it over and over. Like Ed's recent map, Warp House, I've probably played that about 20 times now. But if I didn't save the first time I played through it, I probably wouldn't have gone back to it. I don't know why. It's just the way I work, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a masochist. I'll play everything from pistol start, and I'll just keep playing it until I beat it. And sometimes it'll take me an hour to beat a level, just because I'm so stubborn, and I just want to beat it. and I want to be able to. Well, I record my demos when I play. I record everything that I play, and that's kind of how I have like this Twitch stream set up, so you can watch like gameplay that I've played over the past couple of years, and so like I record my demos, and I don't like to. I get so bored of watching because I watch like some people's Twitch streams and stuff, and they'll save and load all the time, and they'll be stuck on this one part for like 45 minutes, and they just keep dying on it, and it's just so boring to watch them play the same part over and over and over again. So I record these. So I like to record my demos from start to finish, and I only save the ones where I beat it, so people can see the entire level without watching me have to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Talking of people like saving and reloading over and over and sort of being kind of an embarrassment on stream, have you watched any of that VineSource mapping contest?
No, I haven't.
I haven't.
Okay.
No.
So I didn't even know what VineSource was last year until this post popped up on Doom World saying, "Oh, you can win like $200 of Steam vouchers if you enter this mapping contest." So I was like, "Oh, well, I'd be an idiot not to do this." So yeah, I must have watched about 3 or 4 hours of this guy's stream. His name's Joel, and he seems to have this sort of like phobia of archvires. He just, as soon as he sees them, it's like, nope, not playing this level, done, don't care, sort of thing. And yeah, he saves at like some really weird times. So like he's just seen a cyber demon throw like a rocket launcher at him, and he saves. Then like he's stuck in the sort of loading loop for a second.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and it's quite obvious he doesn't normally play Doom. He's just got a bit of an interest in it, you know. So like, what I would have considered to be sort of an average or typical player's movements, actually, it really isn't. It's just someone who plays Doom a lot. And I'm watching this guy play, and it's like, oh god, he's really struggling at a bit that really shouldn't be hard. But then there's other bits like that are almost slaughterish, where he just sort of weaves in and out and has no problem. He's fine.
Yeah,
That's really weird.
yeah, I did that to myself one time. I was the first time I played Alien Vendetta, I got to like I think like level 15 or something, and I saved myself into a corner where I was at this part with I don't know. I had to get like a blue key, and as soon as I activated it, it activated this whole trap with revenants and arc vials and stuff. And I didn't save it with enough ammo for my BFG, so I couldn't clear the area out fast enough, and the area was so compact I couldn't escape. So I like saved myself into this corner, and I was like, oh my god, I can't beat this game anymore. And I like I stopped playing Alien Vendetta for like 2 years after that, and I came back to it. And by then my skill had developed so much more since then. Every time I play Doom, I seem to get a little bit better each time.
I get that with mapping. Say I just stop mapping for 3 months and then I come back. Somehow those 3 months have been good for me, and I'm now a better mapper than I was 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, isn't it?
I've done nothing towards it, but somehow I've gotten better.
That always happens. I feel like that applies to a lot of things. You know, if you're doing something consistently, like every day or all the time, and then you just kind of like I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can just like hit a roadblock for a little bit, and then you have to just step away and come back. Same works for Doom, for video games, for anything. I feel like
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, your head kind of like if you do the same thing over and over and over again, your head kind of like turns into like a fog, and it's nice to like take a break after a while for like maybe like a month or two and come back to it with kind of like a fresh perspective.
So yeah, something that I've been sort of forced into by my friends recently is mapping for Gary's mod or Counter-Strike Source.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you make maps, you know how to do that. Go make us a prop hunt map. Oh, okay. Sure. So that's been a bit of a weird experience because I've done Quake 3 mapping before, but it's been a long time ago since I've done that. So working in like a true 3D environment is foreign. It's weird.
Yeah, that scares me. I had my cousin tried Counter-Strike mapping once, and he showed it to me. And what I thought was really fascinating is it's kind of like the opposite of Doom, because like in Doom you start with like kind of like this void space that's like solid. And when you draw sectors, you create space that you can move around it. And
that's actually known as subtractive mapping.
Yeah.
In the 3D environment.
Yeah, and then at Counter-Strike, he showed me you start with like this just whole void area where if you were to just place a player start without putting any kind of like floor or terrain that you can walk on, you would just fall endlessly.
Yep.
So you have to like build the world around it.
It's a weird way of working when you first start, but then I don't know, you do quickly learn to work in that environment, I think.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the first thing I did was just draw a really, really big box. Just a huge box.
just to contain everything.
Tagged it with a sky texture and then built everything inside the box. And yeah, once that was finished, I just made the box smaller so it can compile quicker.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. Because what he showed me, he made like, he was like just getting started, and he just created like this cube that you can walk on. And I was like, okay, where do you even go with this? I was so like, Doom is like the only game that I've ever really mapped for. Well, I've used like level designers in the past for like other like simple games. Like one of the first games I got into was this DOS game called Jetpack, and this is like have you ever played that before?
I think I have. So on a Nintendo 64, there's a Donkey Kong 64, and one of the mini games is Jetpack. I'm pretty sure it's the same as the DOS game.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So in this game, it's like a side. It's not a scrolling game, but it is like a side to side platforming type of game, and it's tile based. So you can kind of like place these floor tiles and stuff, and you can walk on them. And the object of the game is that you fly around with this jetpack that has fuel, and you have to collect these like gems to unlock the exit door. It's actually a lot like Skull Dash now that I think about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I did look at the sort of arcade era of games when making Skull Dash.
Yeah, and it came with a built-in level editor, so that was like one of my first interests in level design. And after that, I picked up this game called Meteor, and it's kind of an obscure game now. I don't think it's been actively developed for like maybe like the last 10 years. But that was like a tile-based game, but that was like a top-down shooter. And I made levels for that, and I worked on my own like projects and stuff. And then it wasn't too long after that I got into Doom, because Doom was one thing even before I knew that Doom mapping existed, I knew I wanted to make levels for it. I had ideas for levels I wanted to make, and
cool.
I used to like draw pictures and stuff of it. Like I drew pictures of like I know one of the levels I wanted to make was like a skyscraper level where you walk on tops of buildings. Because I was always fascinated with Map 13 Downtown, and
Okay. Yeah.
and another level I wanted to make was like something that was kind of like these like docks, like kind of like a marina where like boats and stuff would be. So you'd be like at this lake or something. And I don't think I've ever actually made those levels, but it was weird. It's weird thinking about it because I used to like want to make levels before I even knew that it was possible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My introduction to mapping was actually my own dad.
Really?
So when I was a little kid, he used to play Doom. So we're talking when I was like 2 or 3 years old. He used to like host these 4-man LAN parties back at his place, and
Nice.
he'd order a pizza for us all. So I was always excited for it because I was this little 3-year-old, like, oh, pizza, yay!
That's so funny.
And there's always adults just going nuts over this computer game. So I just sit there and watch. Back then I used to love like, I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog or something.
Yeah.
Those sort of games. So I used to play on the Sega and SNES. So that used to interest me. And then I saw when Quake came out, he started making levels for Quake. And watching him make levels for Quake is what kind of got me into it. Like 5 years later, I was like, what was that game he used to make levels for? I mistakenly thought it was Doom, not Quake. And that's pretty much where I started back in 2005.
That's really cool.
Nice.
That's so funny that you started playing Doom when you were like 2 or 3 years old, because that's actually when I started playing Doom for the first time too. I was
Nice.
I think Doom came out like a few days before my 4th birthday, and I think my brothers came home. I don't really remember exactly what happened. My brothers came home with I think maybe a floppy disk, and it had the Shareware Doom episode on it, and I'm not sure where they knew it, but they knew all the cheat codes for it too. And so that was my first experience playing Doom. I played it all through the first episode with all the cheat codes turned on. I had IDKFA and IDDQD, and it's so funny. Like looking back, I was such a little kid. Like, if I were a parent, I would never like I would never let my kid like. It seems so silly that like my parents would enable that to happen. Like let little kids play video games like that.
Question actually.
What?
My mum used to say, "Oh, how many frags did you get?"
Oh, really?
That always used to make me laugh. The word frags, like I don't know, it just didn't. It was a deathmatch word to me. It wasn't a normal game mode. But every time she heard like all the sound effects from Doom and stuff, she'd just sort of pop her head and go, "Getting lots of frags."
That's funny. It's kind of funny how you mentioned that you started making maps for Counter-Strike Source, because I actually play Counter-Strike Global Offensive more than I played Doom at this point in time. I played CSGO, for an hour or two almost every single day, and I kind of have been taking it really seriously and really getting into like the ranking system and just improving my game. So I've actually played when I was younger, around the time that I started getting into getting really heavy with playing custom Doom mods. This is about 2005, right when you started mapping, 2005, 2004. I was in a clan for Counter-Strike Condition Zero, and then shortly thereafter I started playing Source, and I played a lot of those custom mods and custom levels, and some of those can be really fun.
Oh, nice. I used to play quite a lot of CSGO. I don't know what made me stop. I just one day just couldn't be bothered anymore, but I think I'd reached about Gold Nova 3, I think it was.
Oh, nice.
Or Master or whatever it's called. But yeah, I got really into it. I'd definitely say that level of mapping is just a bit too far for me. In Doom, like what's considered hyper detail is just basic in something as advanced as CS:GO and modern games.
Yeah, I'm terrified of modern games. They look like they're so difficult to make.
I think the thing with modern games is that a lot of like so much of it is just it's all like 3D modeling, like especially with the worlds, it's all
Yeah.
custom, handmade 3D models and stuff like that. So I don't even know. Honestly, I'm ignorant on the subject, but I'm willing to bet that modern map making is kind of more focused toward like modeling rather than just like map editors.
Yeah, you might be
quite
right.
possibly.
Yeah.
That goes back to this Hypertension Harmony of Darkness game that I'm going to be working on. So currently I haven't actually done any mapping for them yet, and the main reason why is because we're sort of, as a group, we're building on textures and models and stuff because we're trying to sort of push the Doom engine to its limits, make it feel a bit more modern, more Dreamcast era type game or PS2 era. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm sort of waiting on one of the team members, Jason. He's made some brilliant models so far. So one of the first environments is going to be this sort of log cabin place in like some like foresty area with a lake and stuff. I'm getting him to like model up the trees and like the sort of moose head that could go in the log cabin and like a bed and stuff like that. So yeah, if that's what's happening in like a sort of PS2 era game, something that's modern, it must be just slaving away in front of Blender or something.
Yeah. So this game, Hypertension, that you're working on, is this like is this supposed to be like a commercial game or something?
I believe so, yes. So I don't know the entire sort of marketing intent of it yet necessarily. I just dabble in their Skype group at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But I'm led to believe that the idea is to get it on Steam Greenlight. So I think that's where it's at the moment. Personally, I think the project might have been kickstarted. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I could double check all this sort of stuff for you guys and let you know later on.
Yeah, sure.
And provide more interest.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. That's really cool that you like are able to like take what you've learned from Doom mapping and kind of apply it professionally. That's really cool. That's really interesting because I do Doom strictly as a hobby. Like I don't really I've kind of like there was a time in my life where I was really interested in creating my own video games, but I've kind of there was like a point in like my like around the time I was in high school I got like really cynical about modern games and I was like everything's gonna suck and all these it's all big business and all kinds of stuff. But I'm actually really fascinated that like indie games are like making a comeback now.
Yeah, they've really rocketed, haven't they? It's remarkable actually in a way.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
You've got these like one man band games like Cave Story and Undertale just dominating the scene. So
yeah, I work in like finance now. Like because I kind of wanted to get for a long time I was working like food service and like making food for people and waiting tables and things like that. And that's not something I want to keep doing for the rest of my life. So I wanted to like move into a job that was more where I could sit at a desk and like in front of a computer and like maybe when my boss is not looking I could play Doom on the computer. so I got into like finance and now I work in like this big corporate building and I work in like my own cubicle now.
Nice. I guess it's a similar environment for me. So all through my teenage years, I worked in all sorts of food service jobs. I worked at a fish and chip shop, a butcher's, the local coffee shop, all that sort of crap just to get some money to enjoy the weekend. But as soon as I could sort of quit school and get a proper job, I did. And through Doom and other sort of online hobbies, I learned to be a web designer just in my own time. I dabbled in HTML. I learned how to do some sort of graphics, like making textures for Doom and stuff. So that led, one thing led to another, and now I'm a full-time web designer with the ability to sort of, on my second monitor, I don't know, boot up Doom during my lunch or whatever quite easily. No concerns.
Oh, cool. So did you go to school for that, or did you like learn most of what you know, like through the internet?
I'd say I'm 99% self-taught / internet taught. The sort of 1% extra that I've gained have been through other people at work now. But yeah, most of what I know is purely through my own spare time and hobby, essentially.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's funny, that you guys are talking about the food service and the different jobs because I remember John. He sent me a few letters and in the mail, and he had these receipts. He used to work at.
I used to work at Wawa.
Yeah, Wawa, which I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's like a little convenience store. Pretty much exclusive to the East Coast, mainly the Philadelphia area. And he would send me map, layouts and stuff on the back of receipts. He's like, "Oh, check this out! Check out what these are my ideas." And it's just like these little like tiny receipts with like pencil scribbles on them of like just different shapes. It was pretty cool though.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've never really had the fortunate sort of position to have a real life friend who enjoys Doom. I had one who I sort of forced into the position of playing a lot of Doom, but they enjoyed the sort of multiplayer aspect more than mapping and just sort of coming up with ideas. So they played a lot of Z Damon, I think it was. They got some really high level on that, and they pretty much played just one map set exclusively because they knew all the places to camp and just guaranteed they got a lot of experience. So I was, this isn't Doom for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against like playing a little bit of deathmatch or CTF every now and then, or even stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm not really. I'd rather just run and gun by myself. Maybe even like co-op or survival. But I do enjoy Invasion a lot though, because like I said, I'm a slaughter guy. So Invasion is basically like a never-ending slaughter map.
I wonder if I've got the files for that actually. Years and years ago, when Invasion first came out in, what was it, Skulltag 0.97D or something? I remember the update. I was mind blown by Invasion. So I started up my whole project and stuff. I've got a good 10 or 12 maps that I never ever released that were intended for Invasion.
Oh, nice.
But I remember finding them too hard, but then obviously I was testing on my own. It was supposed to be for multiplayer, so...
Yeah, do you actually... Are they scripted for... Invasion, or do they just have like the layout and whatnot?
They were scripted for Invasion. You could just load it up in Skulltag and play. It was
nice.
Good. It worked.
Yeah, that would be cool if you can find those, man. I'd play them.
I hope I've got them on Dropbox still.
Yeah, you should definitely release them.
And like the cool thing about Invasion to me is that like it's kind of like the only place where I welcome weapon mods and different like a wide variety of different monsters and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not against. I mean, as far as weapon mods are concerned, and like single player, I'm not a huge fan of it. But I mean, I can appreciate like modified monsters. Like I believe it was Alien Vendetta uses a few modified monsters and stuff like that. But in Invasion, you'll get weapons and monsters from other games that I love, like Duke Nukem 3D is a big one. I think it's so awesome to be able to like use Doom weapons and play Doom and kill the monsters from another game that I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm almost at the point I'd say I'm against weapon mods for the most part. I find most of them take away that Doom feel. The weapons seem so fine-tuned already. They're so perfect for every situation. The only ones that I felt were a good addition were the Skulltag ones. So you got the minigun, which was like a fast, totally inaccurate chain gun. You got the grenade launcher, which is probably the main one I want, which is the one to sort of shoot around corners with an explosive weapon. And then you got the railgun and the BFG 10K. Fuck the BFG 10K, that's too powerful, you don't need it.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, the railgun and the grenade launcher, I think they're the two weapons Doom is missing. I don't think you need any others, really.
Yeah.
Maybe a better pistol, something in between a pistol and a chain gun. But
yeah, I always felt like the guns in Doom were already like I'm so like adjusted to them. Like I know what you kind of like establish this relationship with the weapons that you're using by using them for so long. So like you kind of don't want to use a different kind of gun to kill the monsters that you're going to be fighting.
And it's like in your head exactly how many shots of a certain weapon.
Right, yeah.
3 a certain monster.
Yeah, 3 super shotgun shots for a Hell Knight, 2 for a Cacodemon, 3 for a Mancubus. Exactly. Like you get that kind of like exactly what it's going to do. And I don't want to like
ballsy too, like I do. Like I'll be, I'll be 4 super shotgun shots deep into a Hell Baron, and I'll just rush him with the last shot and like trample over him because I know it's going to kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that like a really risky attempt to get a 2-shot BFG on a Cyber Demon, and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, you can. I
don't think I've ever succeeded.
You can get one. You can actually get a single shot on him if you just rush him and just keep running toward him as you do it. But it's rare and it's extremely hard because he just makes you eat rocket pretty much.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I've tried it
Don't
many
know, I've
times and I
tried
still
two
can't
shots
do it. There's only been like a few circumstances where I actually like managed to get it, but it was like after dying in like 30 times, like trying to get it done, and it's just like I can't do this reliably.
No.
I really envy the
I
people that
think-
can.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I love about Doom is that the skill ceiling is infinite in a way.
Hell yeah.
So like, I feel right now I'm probably only sort of 50% way to my sort of limit of skill in Doom, but because I spend so much time mapping, I don't really spend as much time playing. So
Mm.
I'm not necessarily getting any better at the moment. But I'm at a point now where at most levels I can beat with a couple of saves. There's very few I can't beat unless they're intended to be ridiculous, like Sunlust.
Yeah.
And even then, it's the sort of later half of Sunlust. The first few maps are still playable and beatable on UV.
Yeah, I see that too. Every time I'm playing Doom, I can kind of see that I still have there's a little more room for like growth in my skill when I'm playing. I can kind of like I can I'm like every time I'm like done killing a bunch of monsters, I'm like, oh, I probably could have done that a little faster or a little better, or I could have done that without taking as much damage, stuff like that. And like I kind of like learn these new things. Like I kind of like better at anticipating the types of fireballs that they're going to throw, or like recently a new skill I picked up was that if you're fighting like a bunch of cacodemons that are all on ground level, sometimes what'll happen is when you kill a cacodemon, the cacodemon behind it will shoot a fireball, and it'll pass through its like dying animation, and you won't.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah,
I
and
hate that, dude.
Yeah, it'll like get you, and I kind of like that kind of like dinged in my head after a while, like after that happened so many times, and I'm like, you know what, I should probably like be a little more cognizant of what's going on behind the cacodemon that I'm killing before I kill the ones that are directly in front of me, so I don't get hit with another fireball like that just pops right out of the dead cacodemon out of his face.
That also applies to like when you have especially cacodemon and like mancubus corpses because they're so tall. You can't sometimes if you're fighting another monster in the distance, like you can't see their fireball until it passes through that corpse. You know what I mean? That's the worst.
Yeah, it's silly. Like sometimes I'll like guide these bigger monsters like cacodemons and mancubi especially. I try to like in like these slaughter maps, I'll try to like guide them into like a corner where they're kind of like away from the choke point, like the places where I'm going to be like taking cover from, because I don't want their corpses to be in the way of the fireballs that are coming my way. And it's it's like these stupid little skills that you kind of like build over time, like even after playing for so many years.
I don't think I've ever lured something just because of where its corpse is going to be. That's quite an interesting strategy.
Yeah, seriously.
I remember that's my sort of early days of playing Doom, and I remember finding the Mancubus. I thought its direction was random, and I remember reading on a thread about the Mancubus, about how its attack pattern is fixed. It goes, in a certain order every time.
Yeah,
so it's like, oh wait, hold on a minute, and then suddenly it became one of the easier monsters to fight.
Yeah, it shoots in that pattern, so you got to step left, right, and then left again.
Yep.
They fake you out in Doom 2, because when they introduced the Mancubi for the first time, there's partial invisibilities everywhere, and like it's hard enough just to avoid them, like just to avoid touching the partial invisibilities, and when you do, you just get fireballs all over the place, and you have no idea what's going on. There's no way to.
Why does that power-up exist?
What?
Why does that power-up even exist?
I know that.
I don't know. It's only useful when you're fighting like hordes of bullet enemies, like shotgun guys or chain gunners. Yeah, like I don't know. It's supposed to be a power up, but it just hinders your gameplay. You know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I almost every time I see a partial invisibility in a map that I downloaded, I never trust the mapper to put it there for a good reason. Like I'm always like expecting to pick it up, and then there's going to be like Mancubi after that, or Cyber Demons, and like shit like that, and I have to expect that they're going to be shooting in all kinds of different directions and not know how to dodge these fireballs until they're like actually fired.
It's weird how much sort of preemptive movement you do in Doom, isn't it? So like that imp has just lifted his hand, so I need to move out of the way now.
Yeah.
There's a fireball coming, but you haven't actually seen a fireball yet.
Yeah, you can like anticipate it. I've gotten so like there were times my skills probably waned a little bit since then, but there were times where I was really hooked on to playing Doom on Nightmare, and from playing that so much, I kind of like I I had like such a heightened sense of awareness that I could see when shotgun guys were lifting their gun, and I knew like, and I could move just enough to get out of the way, but like into like a place where there's cover just before the guy fires. And it's like such a limited, tiny window of opportunity that you can focus on. But somehow it's just from playing it from playing mostly the first episode of Doom on Nightmare, because there's shotgun guys everywhere. Just from playing that so many times and trying to beat it, I got kind of like that heightened sense of awareness and like that sense of space and all kinds of things. It's hard to describe. It's a weird thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually, it's funny because, you know, like you said, you know, you hit the nail on the head. It's just you're planning your actions before they even happen. You know, so it's like if I see a cyber demon, you know, as soon as I see him step into that fire animation, I'm already strafing either left or right. You know, I'm strafing because you know it's the same thing with the make about. You go right, or left, right, left, whatever. But yeah, I'm already prepared. I'm already moving by the time that rocket comes out. You know, it's just crazy. It's kind of neat to think that, you know, you can develop your skill to a level where you just know and can predict everything that's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Especially when you've got like a good sort of 50 to 100 monsters on screen at the time, you're still controlling it all somehow.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, especially like with monsters like the one cool thing that I've always, you know, tried to do, but I've been really trying to do it a lot more lately, is with the Revenants. You take their guided missiles, their homing missiles, and you just ram them right into other monsters. And that's something I've been really focusing on trying to do that a lot lately, and it's fun.
I have no idea what map it was. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, there was a slaughterish map. I'd say, you know, a fair few hundred monsters in a map. And I remember there were so many Revenants on you at one time that you could sort of keep, you know, sort of circling around everything with all these like Revenant fireballs following you. And then at the end of it, I managed to sort of lure it into a cyber demon, and there was enough of them to do enough damage.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that needed a mod or not. I know it was definitely a multiplayer. It was on... I can't remember what map. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, no, it's all right, man. We got foggy memories. I don't remember the names of maps all the time.
But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, there's so many times where I remember distinctly a map that I played, and I will tell the wrong map number on the air, and I'm sure like people will be like, no, it's not map 14, it's map 17, idiot. It's like, I don't have the Doom wiki open in front of me. I'm sorry, I have a faulty memory. Like even when I make like posts on Doom World, like they take me like a half hour because I have to like fact check everything that I'm like posting just to make sure that I'm giving you the right information.
Yep.
But whatever, we're not like Doom historians here. We're just kind of like talking about whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of shit.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I played. There was a level in Nova. It's probably map 1. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably like map 27 or something. But there's this map by Moldy, and there's this part where there's like 1,000 Revenants, and you just kind of have to like circle strafe around like this huge mass of monsters, and all these Revenants are shooting rockets at you at the same time. So it just kind of like circle around this horde of monsters, and I'm creating this whole like this whole like fiery tornado of homing missiles, and just like kind of like gently like sawing the monsters away with these fireballs. And I actually made I recorded this demo this one time of this because among this huge massive monster there was an arc vial in the middle, and those bitches they can burn you from like across this whole horde of monsters, and you can't get to them. But there was this arc vial was pissing me off so many times that I kept replaying this level just to get all these fireballs so I can guide them right into the arc vial just before it wakes up. So I had like 100 of these fireballs, and I just guided them, and there was still more fireballs to spare, so they killed like some of the Hell Knights in the way too.
Nice. Something you said there just sort of piques my interest a little bit. So you call it arc file.
Yeah.
I also call it arc file, but every other person I've heard pronounce it calls it arch file, to the point that I made a note here on my computer before joining this call with you to pronounce it arch file, not arc file.
Oh, I don't know. I know people say that you're like, you know, when you blow up zombie men with a barrel, they're supposed to jib. I always say gib. I pronounce it with a hard G. I can't
I've
get
heard
myself
that
to say it. I can't get myself to say jib. I don't know.
I don't say jib, and I never even knew that was how people pronounce it.
Yeah,
it's the whole GIF and GIF thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I call them GIFs too.
See, the people who made the file format actually, I think one of them posted a tweet on Twitter saying it is GIF, hard GIF.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, and people still like, nah, fuck off.
Yeah, well, I've been saying it. Yeah, I've been saying it for so many years. I'm not going to change it now. But yeah,
what the real pronunciation is. I guess we'll have to talk to John Romero about that, huh?
Yeah, I think I've read somewhere that it is called jibbed because of giblets, like the kind of like dog food, I guess, or something like that. I don't know, something weird like that.
That sounds right.
Well, giblets are like small fragments of small fragments of tissue.
Okay.
Okay, I'm actually looking at the definition. The liver, heart, gizzard, and neck of a chicken or other fowl, usually removed before the bird is cooked. So I guess it's just like the innards of a turkey or bird or chicken or whatever.
Okay.
So I don't know. I thought it was giblets.
Yeah, I always thought it was too. At least until we found out. Well, we solved that myth. What other things can we solve in the Doom community?
How to make everyone happy with just one map? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah, just make a slaughter map. We'll all be happy.
Yeah, but then there's like thousands of us who don't like slaughter maps.
I know. It's a shame there's so many.
That's cool.
That's all that matters.
It's a shame that people get so fired up about the things they love on Doomworld, and they'll get in fights and stuff. That's one of the reasons I kind of wanted to make this radio show, because I know there's so many people that like they'll pick fights and stuff over the internet. But I think if we all just got into a room and started talking to each other, like we're probably not gonna like want to kill each other. You know, like we can talk this out and work it out.
We'll probably be so relieved.
Yeah.
So relieved that we're actually talking to like another Doomer, in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so rare. But yeah, one of the mysteries I'd like to solve is when is Jonas Farragon gonna release Hell Revealed 3 if he ever, decides to pick it up again.
Yeah, that's right. In case you didn't hear, Dragonfly, we interviewed Crozaron, who is Jonas Farragon, and he worked on Hell Revealed 2. And apparently, last time we talked to him, which was a few years ago now, but he mentioned that he had some WADs on his hard drive for levels that were going to be used in Hell Revealed 3 whenever that came out.
I think I did hear that episode. Was that did you talk about that to Ralphus, was it?
No, we talked. I think it was like I don't know, maybe like our 4th or 5th episode. I'm not looking at our episode list right now. So
we were interviewing Jonas himself when we talked about that. Okay, and he actually, I don't know. I gotta have it somewhere, but he did send me like a half-finished level that was supposed to be for Hell Revealed 3. I mean, it's very, very bare bones. I mean, half finished isn't even the word, but I should have it somewhere on my hard drive still.
Yeah, we have it. I put it on our Mediafire, and I did post it on the thread, but it's a post from like 4 years ago, so you'll have to go through a couple pages on the World Extermination Radio page to find it, but it is there. And
I have access to our Mediafire, so I can, get that from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying for anybody who's listening and wants to try it, it is there. And yeah, and speaking of that, the guy, I think we talked about this another time. I can't remember if we did or not. But the guy, I can't remember his name, Gusta, who worked on Kama Sutra, is working on Kama Sutra 2. Or has been working on Kama Sutra 2, and has almost all of the levels complete, but he doesn't want to release it until it's like a full megawatt or something. So and he doesn't even post that often on Doomworld anyway. So we're frightened that he might never release it.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
Yeah,
that happens too often as well.
Yeah, it's a bummer, and I want to get on your case about that because you were talking about those invasion maps that you're working on. You should definitely release them. And
do it.
And yeah, more people have to do that.
I'm actually looking for them as we speak. If I can find them, I'll post them today.
Yeah, do it. Even if they're not finished, someone could be like, "Hey, I got some ideas for you," and then that'll maybe kind of jog your interest, because
yeah, maybe.
Because when shortly after Skillsaw released, I can't remember if it was Vanguard or Ancient Aliens. I think it was Vanguard, but he released Sawdust, which is like this short map set of levels that he didn't want to use in Valiant, and they're great levels. I mean, he just didn't like them. He didn't think they were that great, and he thought he could do better, so he didn't use them. But they're great levels. And another guy, Razik, did that too. He's working on a Megawad, which is like all slaughter levels, and I'm so excited for when it comes out. And,
yes, dude.
Yeah, they're all great levels. And I think last year he released like 2 or 3 levels that he rejected from his Megawad. And his Megawad's still not done yet, but when I played the levels, I was like, these are awesome levels. I don't know why you think they suck.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people who seem to have this sort of self-hatred of their own levels. Don't know if you ever played it. Agent Spork's Simplicity?
Yeah, I've played that before.
Like, I think the first thing he says is how all this shit started or something, because he puts a little caption at the start of every level. And he really plays himself down. But actually, considering his maps were, 10, 11 years old now? They're phenomenal.
They hold up really well, good. Even today.
Yeah.
Like if someone released them today, they'd be great.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously proud enough of it because he put it up on the internet and made it public. But at the same time, don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are, always critical of their wads. They're kind of like, like I could have done this better, I could have done that better. But I mean, you're always going to grow as a mapper. With every level you make, every idea that you get, you're going to grow and you're going to, evolve. I mean, you can't look at your wad that you released yesterday and say that, you haven't made bounds and leaps forward from a wad you released 5 years ago. So
yeah. I think like people have kind of like a natural fear of like putting themselves out there. Like if they put a lot of like if they're making a level that they think is really great and they put it out there and people say it sucks, that's a real bummer. Like that it's a real kick in the dick.
For sure.
And
kick in the dick.
Kick in the dick. So it's like hard.
Happens more often than it should as well.
Yeah, it's hard to. Like I understand this kind of like self-loathing because I have projects that I've wanted to finish and I never really got around to finishing them, and it's kind of like I'm nervous about how people are going to respond to them because it's my baby. I don't want people to like think it sucks if I put this if I put so much like time and effort into it, and it just sucks like because there's probably some really great maps that are just kind of sitting on people's hard drives that nobody knows about. And it would be nice if more people were releasing their stuff and just kind of like, if they could just kind of like be humble about it and be like, hey, I don't really know how I feel about this, but I have this unfinished map and I kind of want to finish it. And what do you guys think? And you just kind of get some feedback that way. As long as you don't kind of like put it out there and be like, hey, this is my awesome map. Like I've worked on this for like 100 years and it's gonna.
Hey guys, this is my first map, but it's the best one ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Those ones.
This is my ticket to dominating the Doom community. Just be humble about it and kind of release whatever. Just kind of release whatever and just like kind of share it with people so that people can talk about it and kind of give you some ideas. Because people get that a lot, even with like for example, writer's block. We have mappers block in the community all the time. People just don't want to. They feel like they run out of good ideas, so they just kind of like every time they start making something, they just want to scrap it, and that really sucks.
Yeah,
it does.
And
then, I actually to go back to the Iron Man challenge that you were talking about real quick here, I noticed that just kind of looking at the people that are watching the stream, and one guy, Jaws in Space. I mean, it's pretty much our only viewer that's not us. You know what I mean? But it looks like he was streaming some Iron Man stuff back in November of last year and August of last year. Perdition's Gate and Crusades. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That Iron Man challenge is really cool because it kind of gets people like playing older WODs again. Alfonso's really good about that because he knows a lot about WODs that most people don't know about. Like he knows a lot of like obscure mega WODs that are probably really cool that kind of flew under the radar. Because like if you go through Doom World and like read people's favorite WOD topics, most of the people kind of say the same things. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like
I'm
really
definitely
popular WODs that just kind of get repeated and regurgitated over and over again, but there's a lot of really great stuff that most people don't know about, and Alfonso's really educated in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people who seem to say the same thing over and over. I'm always saying, "Oh, play Pirate Doom, play Winter's Fury, play all the same shit that everyone else is saying."
I actually just downloaded Winter's Fury as we were in the middle of this little talk because I never really I've heard the name tossed around here and there, and then I when you mentioned it, I pulled up a YouTube video of it, and I was watching. I was like, "Holy crap! There's a 10-foot tall arch file or arc file, whatever, however you pronounce it. I need to download this right now."
Yeah, it's the boss fights are impressive. They're something new. They are brilliant. I don't really know how to word it other than it's just one of those sort of you must at least try it kind of projects,
Yeah, I remember when it first came out, I was looking at the screenshots, and there was kind of like these like tech bases, and they were all fog. Like you could see the towers in the distance, and there was like this really dense fog, and it was really, really ominous and like kind of really epic looking. It was really interesting. I've never played it, and I always play like vanilla and boom WODs all the time. I'm almost like glued to that because I'm so attracted to using the source ports I like to use, and they're mostly limit removing source ports. So I don't use much ZDoom type stuff, but
That's fair.
yeah, I'll have to get around to it eventually because it does look very fascinating.
No, John's a purist. Don't let him fool you. He's
I'm a purist. Yeah.
He's like he plays on he plays the game to so it looks like it's from '93. He doesn't use like any OpenGL or any like upgrade. He's like, no, I want it to look pure.
I mean, I do occasionally do that. Every time I go to sort of replay, say, Vanilla Doom or something, like the base IWADs, I do tend to just lower the resolution and sort of just enjoy it at its core crappy look and feel.
Yeah, it's fascinating to go back to that, to just kind of like know what the roots are. And I do. I mean, you're right. I do. I play at a low resolution, and I play older WODs, and I've played so many like 1994 WODs, and I still see the magic. And even when they're not like good looking levels, or like even good by any standards, I still like kind of appreciate the idea of like the like how levels are designed in such a way where they'll use like wall textures for doors, or like secrets that you have to find that have keys that are required to get to the exit. Like all kinds of like ridiculous stuff.
Like,
and this is the kind of stuff. It's the kind of stuff that most people hate, but I still have like kind of like an inherent love for that kind of that gameplay, because it's like kind of like playing Doom in a time machine. You're like playing like how it
was.
Yeah, you kind of like get into the map designer's head and just kind of understand it, how he wanted to make it look.
I think there's a few people who still do that sort of stuff now. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Gabu Mari.
Yeah,
probably
I don't know how to pronounce his name either, but he's a cool guy.
They're one of those people who just goes, I don't care what the traditions of Doom are. I'm going to make what I want to make. I don't give a shit if you like it. And actually, the stuff he or she produces ends up being amazing, but very different to what we're used to.
Yeah, definitely. His maps are really fascinating. His newest one, Saturnine Chample, man, that one is crazy.
Brilliant, that map.
It's so.
Who would have thought having a map with Slimefall as your sky would actually work? But they've done it. They made it happen.
Yeah, it's so.
That's awesome.
It's really bizarre the way he has like those mid-texture like metal grates and stuff that are just kind of like floating around the sky. They look at these weird like metal tentacles that are just like floating out of this thing. It's so abstract and really cool. It's I kind of I had a little bit of trouble getting into it at first, only because I feel like more abstract stuff is like the trend now. Do you kind of know what I'm saying? Like I do like. I am a little bored of like tech bases now, but I do like more earthy kind of settings. Like I kind of like hell levels, and I like urban city streets type levels, and stuff that use like stock Doom 2 textures and things like that. But that's just me. But yeah, it seems like the new trend is
Moldy's going down.
Yes, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's one of those sort of examples of just pushing the stock textures and like the boom format to the limits and making something quirky and different but still good out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially when you get later into the Megawatt and you get into kind of like the hell section of the level. Whoa, it gets really crazy.
Yeah, there's the Flesh Hill level that really captivated me, and actually was one of the inspirations for the final boss map of Skull Dash.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember what that map was called, but the map after it was called Constipation Station. I just remember that stuck with me. I don't know, still immature.
Yeah.
I agree though with you, John. I mean, I don't really care too much about wild and wacky textures. I do like the stock Doom 2 textures, honestly. With maybe a couple new ones thrown in here and there. But I do appreciate it when the custom textures kind of are a little. They look like they're related to the stock textures at least. But then there are other maps that just revamp everything, which I don't mind either. But yeah, I love the city textures. I mean, one of my favorite maps is the factory. It's just I love the sky. I love that skybox, that like post-apocalyptic, like fiery, like just like you know what I mean, like that sky, and just those textures are just. I don't know what it is about those textures. Like I can't even explain it because there's nothing special about them. They're not pretty. It's just I just like that city feel, and I like downtown too, which. Honestly, downtown is kind of newer to me because you know that I grew up playing Doom on PlayStation. So downtown, I don't believe it's in the PlayStation in the game.
Oh, really? It's one of the levels that got axed?
I think downtown is it was either downtown or the suburbs. I'm pretty sure it was downtown though. Yeah, I think that got axed from the final or the PlayStation Doom. But yeah, I love those textures. Oh yeah, and I wanted to give a shout out too because Jaws in Space said hi to us in the chat. So I wanted to say thank you to him for being our one and only viewer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so thank God. At least someone's watching this.
At least someone likes us,
Yeah.
Well, it's a podcast at the end of the day. I mean, most of the listens come afterwards, don't they? But got to be grateful for the actives.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of like even though we do have our preferences, I'm still like very thankful that there's so much like originality out there. I like that there's all these kinds of different styles and people making their own like slaughter maps that are just like way too hard for me to beat. And then there's other people and then there's like other people who make levels that are maybe a little easier, but they're much more atmospheric and like very fascinating to look at and take awesome screenshots and all kinds of things like that. It's awesome that there's so much diversity in the community with all these new maps that are being made, and there's so much stuff to play, and you can kind of like find your taste like just from playing all these new levels.
That's probably one thing. The thing I've tried to use to convince my friends to play Doom is I actually don't need to like Doom at all to love Doom.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because there's so many different things you can do. There's so many different things you can do. Like you can get into speedrunning, or you can play Capture the Flag, or you can play Skull Dash, or you can or if you don't even really like playing the game, you can just make like textures and stuff, or make music, or you can make like graphics and sprites and stuff. Like there's so much opportunity for like pretty much anybody to contribute to the Doom community in some way.
Exactly, and it's not just from contributing either. I mean, from a playing perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there's maps that aren't maps. They make it into Mario Kart, or
yeah.
There's like these platforming games. Like there was the Sonic Robo Dash, or what it was called. I can't remember, but it's basically a 3D Sonic game in Doom. It's not even Doom anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can do it all. You can even do it all like just from programming. Like they have. I remember there was like this contest of several years ago. I think it was either Zazer or Wild Weasel who pitched it, but it was like this contest to create the most interesting gameplay mod using only the stock Doom resources. So you couldn't create your new textures or new maps. You could only use what was already there and use the programming language that came with ZDoom. I think it was Decorate, and use that and use that to make like the most fascinating original gameplay mod or something. And I think people can make like new weapons, or they can make monsters move really fast. And I can't remember. It came out a while ago, so I don't know who won, but there was a lot of really fascinating, interesting stuff.
I'll have to look out for that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and there was I think there was even another project that came out that somebody released where there was like I saw it on New Stuff. I don't remember there being like a Doom World thread about it, but there was like a project where the ammo pickups would run away from you. So like you would walk into a room and there would be like all the items that were in the room would just run away and you had to like chase them. So if you needed help, they would be like kind of fleeing away from you and you had to outrun them.
I'm glad you said that because I think I even posted in the thread that was on and never. I said I need to play this and then never did. So I'm gonna definitely go look out for that and download that in a minute.
Yeah, it's cool. There's so much fascinating stuff.
It's just hilarious that idea.
Yeah.
Oh look, your medkit's got legs. Off it goes.
Oh man. I actually recently been playing Bloodstain, and I played it before. I didn't play all the way through it, but I played the first 10 maps or something, and then I guess I hadn't played it in a while and forgot where I was, so I just said screw it. I played it over, start from the beginning, and it's a really good wad set. Just it's very. It's not like super slaughtery, but it's got just enough of a challenge to really keep it interesting. And I feel like they kind of use maybe not on all the maps because I haven't played the entire thing, but I know that I've run into a couple situations where there's like tight spaces and a couple monsters that are hard to deal with. So that I do appreciate that style too.
Yeah. I liked Bloodstain a lot, and I think I heard it get some criticism that there was like just too many monsters, like it was just too crowded. But I actually really liked it. But I haven't gotten that far into it, so I think most of these people are talking about like maybe when you get like later into the hell levels and stuff, it gets like super intense. But I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool anyway.
Well, I'm looking forward to it getting super intense because that's what I live for when I play Doom.
How about you, Dragonfly? What kind of WODs do you like to play? Do you have any like favorite?
Tough one. So I like. It's strange actually. I think the things I enjoy playing and not what I like making. I tend to enjoy more sort of boom type maps typically. So a really good map set that everyone would have already played already is Scythe 2.
Yes.
I'd probably say that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
I do struggle once I get to the last 3 or 4 levels. They suddenly jump from playable near IWAD level sort of type difficulty to, well, here's 1,000 monsters, have fun.
Yeah.
The jump is sudden as well. It's like from one map to the next, it goes from about 50 monsters to 500. It's a massive jump. But aside from that fact, I find it's very, very fun almost the whole way through.
Yeah,
and the themes explored, the themes that they explore are just, they're very interesting ones. I really particularly like these sort of Egyptian-y, Aztec sort of things.
Yes.
So
exactly, I agree with you 100%. And like, I feel like Scythe was very challenging. I don't know, in its own way. It wasn't like it falls into kind of a special category of maps in my mind. Anyway, they're not quite all-out slaughter, but they're just they're kind of like right below that level, and not only are they like, and not only do the maps, in that kind of category in my mind, not use as many monsters, but I think they make a lot more greater use of space and like not necessarily always tight and crammed spaces, but just odd layouts that kind of like contribute to the difficulty of each horde. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Does that make sense at all? Or?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. It's like the map set takes a lot of sort of gameplay elements just from the need for spatial awareness rather than just, here's a shitload of monsters in a square room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to actually think about, well, if I go left here, there's actually a dead end and only a stair set that goes downwards, which is not what I want. I need to go higher ground and knock off things that way and so on and so forth. So you're more sort of strategic about your gameplay rather than just fighting for the sake of fighting.
Exactly. And it's just more fun like that when you have to think and you're not just like, all right, I'm going to hold W and D and strafe around in a circle around these monsters until I kill them all, which, I mean, I'm not against that. I do enjoy that, but, it gets boring after a time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the other sort of types of maps and stuff that I like playing are the ones that just they're intentionally new. Assassin's Chapel is a brilliant example of that. There's Action Doom, which is another sort of experience that's just totally different again.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a technological thing for me. I like seeing what people can get out of the Doom engine.
Yeah. I can see that. I think I feel like I can see that even in your own mapping. Like I feel like you kind of have an interest in like creating something that's kind of not too you don't look too
Not
far
too
into the
wide
past. You kind of like you want to push Doom forward.
Yeah, I mean, with my maps, I don't know. I feel I try to please too many audiences at the same time. So I'm trying to make a map that has a bit of a new school feel, but sometimes some of the maps are a bit more vanilla-y in their gameplay, and ultimately they don't necessarily have their own specific goal. So all of my maps put together are quite different, all in all.
Yeah.
I don't know if that shows through, but yeah, one of the things I do tend to focus on, like Skull Dash, for example, is that every level had a different or reasonably different theme to the last one. So,
yeah.
Sure, it might mean that I need another whole set of new textures to go with it, but the sort of end result is something that you haven't played yet in this Megawad. It's not like you've played 10 maps of tech base before we moved on to 10 maps of city and 10 maps of hell.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Mix it up, so you got your ice caves, you got your industrial warehouse, you got hell, you got heaven, you got some sewers, you got space, you got a void map, you got some castle medieval theme.
Yeah.
Anything I can find textures for, I'll make it.
And that's cool, man. I do appreciate that fact too, because it's like, if you're playing the same maps over and over. I mean, not the same maps over and over, but like if you're playing a wide and they're all kind of themed the same, or they're like, I don't mind it, but because I talk to John about this all the time that I'm not one for aesthetics really in Doom mods. Like, I mean, I appreciate aesthetics for sure, but gameplay is king to me. So I'll sacrifice the aesthetics for gameplay any day of the week. But the theme I feel like is a little different. It's a little more important to me than detail and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see like just switching it up constantly rather than here's 10 levels of city, then 10 levels of hell, and then yada yada. So yeah, I like the kind of randomness, which is why I like some of the Slaughterfest WODs, because they're all from, and like community projects too and stuff, because a lot of them are from different mappers who aren't really trying to stick with the same theme. It's like one level to the next, it just varies greatly,
Yep, indeed. Somewhere in the middle of my Skull Dash development, I paired up with the Chaos Core team from the Zanjanum forums. I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
No.
I know they've got a mixed bag of reviews. A lot of people think they're a bunch of arseholes, and the other lot think they're fine.
Yeah.
But I really didn't. I was one of their mappers. I didn't really care for the multiplayer sort of aspect. So I joined them to make this hide and seek mod for Zanjanum, where there's two teams. There's one team who hide and one team who find the people hiding. And they all had different classes. So like you had this guy who could go invisible or nearly invisible. So you'd hide in a dark place and sort of crouch and hope no one could see you. Or there's just people who could run really fast, so it's difficult to kill you even if you did get found. And like there's always different sort of gameplay aspects that sort of they're not traditional Doom, but yeah, that was good fun. And after working on that project, I paired up with someone called J3 or Captain J3. We made this mod, it's a 4-map project called Separated Worlds. You can find it on the ZDoom forums. Yeah, I mean, that's just another sort of extension of this multiple theme thing. So we basically just set ourselves a goal of, okay, make a map that we haven't made before with a theme that we haven't tried before, and just sort of published 4 levels like that were sort of, I don't know, I think we focused more on the aesthetics than the gameplay, which upon reflection was a mistake, but we had fun doing it, so that's all that mattered.
Yeah. And about because you were talking about earlier about how when you were working on Skull Dash, you kind of like make all these new interesting themes. And one of the cool things I do think is pretty interesting is I've been thinking about this more lately, that some people kind of bring the past history of games that they've played like in their childhood, and they kind of bring that into their own mapping. And you did mention that you played Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis and like other Super Nintendo games. And like one thing I do remember distinctly from Sonic the Hedgehog is that every stage was like very distinct from one another. Like they had like the island theme, and then after that it was like the desert, and then it was the casino, and like all kinds of like crazy
pinball theme.
Stuff,
yeah, fantastic stuff. Similar to that actually is one of the games that inspired me a bit was Spyro the Dragon, which was definitely one of my more sort of memory cherished games, if you will, from my childhood.
Great game.
The thing that I took from that was more the hub world aspect. So you've got a level with portals to other levels in it. So I kind of wanted to explore that idea more with Skull Dash, and I feel it could have been better. Because as it is, it's just sort of a room with 4 portals, and then another room with another 4 portals to another set of levels, rather than an actual level which you have to explore and find stuff in, and find the levels as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, so you're talking about like at first when you first start off. What is it? I guess they're called tiers, right? Tier 1, Tier 2.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciated that because it's like that's something you also never see in Doom. You know, it's like a central thing where you choose your maps and you can. I really thought that was a cool little feature because it kind of just brings everything into one little thing. It makes it feel like I don't know, like a game, like a more modern game where you beat certain levels or do certain things and it saves your progress. And then you go back to the menu and you pick your next level or you pick your next campaign or whatever. So that was kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, I mean that is partially what I was going for at the end of this. I sort of wanted to make it this one continuous experience, but I also wanted to give you the ability to replay other levels. Obviously, it's all about sort of speed running. So at the end of the day, if you've beaten map 1 in 2 minutes 18 seconds, you might have that sort of inclination that you want to go back and beat it again, but you don't have to start a new game to try it again. You can just walk into that level again and you're there.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, that's really cool that it kind of saves everything for you in one central location.
So one of the features I'd scrapped from Skull Dash originally was a high score system. I'm actually thinking of putting it back in with the community expansion. So when you beat a level, it actually took a note of your time and displayed it there on you press the switch next to the level and it will tell you back what your time was when you last played that level, or what your best time was. So I'm trying to find a way of actually implementing that back into it because it was a cool feature. It got too buggy.
Yeah.
That does sound pretty cool though.
Yeah, it sounds worth your time to like go back and put it in. It sounds like a really fascinating thing, especially for multiplayer, because people we kind of like emphasize the competition aspect of it.
Yep, exactly. So that was part of the reason I dropped it. So one of the things I was trying to implement was who set the score. So it took a note of the player's name. I could never get that working. I should probably have just taken to the forums and asked for some help.
Well, yeah. Well, we're talking about it here, and I'm sure like if once I know we only have one listener right now, but we put these videos on YouTube so people can listen to the podcast on their own time. So I'm sure some people are probably going to hear about this and want to help you out. That's what I really like about being able to talk with you about this whole like Skull Dash thing is that like you kind of get your projects a little more exposure and people can kind of understand what you're thinking like as you're working on your project, and like it can probably get people like motivated to want to help you finish this because it's such a cool thing, and I wouldn't want it to see it kind of like sink into development hell as most projects do. And I think if people get like more chances to talk about them more often, like it kind of might generate more interest and like get some people who might not have known much about it. Now they kind of like know the story behind it, and they kind of like it might give them like more ideas on how they can help you work on this, and probably without too much effort. Like it might be like I know you were talking about this high score thing, and there's probably somebody who knows how to do that pretty easily, but they don't have any reason to implement that in the projects they're already working on. But they can probably talk to you about it now that we're talking about this now on the air.
If anyone is listening to this when this is put onto YouTube, or Jaws in Space currently listening, if anyone is willing to step up to that and help implement that, I'll be more than happy. I'll be very, very, very happy. yeah, I mean, that's why I released Skull Dash when I did. I felt that phrase exactly, development hell. I didn't want it to become one of those just sort of rotting pieces of data on my hard drive. I wanted people to be able to experience it if it's something that they're interested in. So I eventually released it in a what I feel it was in more or less complete state as it is, but an improvable state.
Yeah.
Like why this community expansion is on the way.
That's cool, man. I really am excited for the expansion. I'm gonna definitely check it out as soon as it drops.
It'll definitely be more up your street, Tanner, because there's definitely a couple more sort of slaughtery maps in there. So
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm getting into like multiplayer and stuff too. So I'm gonna like I kind of want to try some new stuff. And Skull Dash sounds like right up my alley. It just sounds really awesome because I've been playing so many single player things for so long that like kind of integrating headfirst into like the multiplayer competitive kind of style, like of like deathmatch and duel and stuff. It's really kind of shaky for me because I'm not used to fighting against other players who are moving super fast. But I do love fighting monsters with other people, and I do like having fun with other people too, instead of just playing single player all the time. So it's very cool that something like this exists. I guess we can probably wrap this up unless there's anything you want to like cover real quick before we leave.
I'd just simply like to say thanks for you two for the time together. It's been good fun chatting to some, actual authentic Doomers.
Yeah, totally. This is a lot of fun. I if you'd like to be on the show again, I'd totally love to have you again.
Just let me know anytime.
Yeah.
We've done that a couple. We've done that a couple times. Had people come back, and we've actually done a few shows where we've had multiple people on at the same time, which is even more interesting because not only is it just us, haggling you for questions and answers, but you got the other people kind of interacting, and it's like a big conversation with a lot of opinions. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's super cool. So you're on Skype, you're on Discord, you're on Facebook. So yeah, if anybody wants to get in contact with Dragonfly, he's on Doomworld, so you can send him a private message if you want to help him with Skull Dash. Also be on the lookout for the Skull Dash expansion pack when that comes out, and also check out Hypertension when it comes out, if it ever will. I know you were talking.
Yeah.
You seem kind of pessimistic about how it's going to come out, but I know
I'm
it
not
seems
pessimistic. That's definitely the wrong word. I'd say
Okay.
I think there's a lot of development remaining.
Okay.
We're still at the early stages at the moment, but I feel like once the sort of ball gets rolling, it's going to just sort of steamroll through. So
Okay. Yeah. Good.
yeah, I'm optimistic.
Okay, yeah, it sounds really cool, and I'm really excited to see you working on like more like commercial projects and stuff, and it's really exciting. So yeah, thanks again everybody for listening, who are listening live, all like two of you, and and if you guys are watching it on YouTube, thank you, or downloading our MP3 files from MediaFire, thank you for listening to us, and we're excited to do more episodes in the future. So thanks again, guys. See you later, Space Marines.
Over and out.